Hey you guys, so we're back for more notes. So we're going to be doing semicolons and colons today, which are different punctuation. And it will really help you guys structure sentences differently and be able to get to play with your sentences a little bit more. The more punctuation you know how to use, the more interesting and more diverse you can make your sentences. So when you have your table of contents filled out and your 2-page spread ready to go, and then there's 2 foldables for semicolons and colons. When you have all of that, come on back and we'll get started. Okay, you guys, semicolons and colons. Like we've been doing with a lot of these, we're going to start with our foldables, and then we're going to go into a PowerPoint. So basically, these do flip up. So I'm going to cut just like that. Okay, so this is what it should look like, so you guys can flip these up to take notes, okay, on semicolons and colons. Okay, so colons and semicolons. Here goes. Okay, gotta know the difference here. A colon is the 2 dots on top of each other, and a semicolon has a dot with the comma underneath. Okay, we're gonna start with colons. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hit the button too fast. Okay, so a colon is 2 dots arranged vertically, which is used to precede a list of items, a quotation, or an expansion or explanation. So when you're preceding a list, this is how you probably have used it the most, and you've probably seen it used this way the most. Like if I wanted to do a bulleted list, a lot of times I'll write it, then I'll have the colon, and then I'll have my bulleted list underneath. So we need some new kitchen utensils. Colon, a whisk, knives, spoons, and tins. Okay? But you've got to make sure that you have an independent clause before it. We need some new kitchen utensils. That could be a period, okay? Has to be a complete sentence. What comes after the colon does not have to be a complete sentence, okay? It can just be a list. Obviously, it could also be bulleted, okay? So, only one of the following is correct. Can you identify which and explain why? So what I'm going to want you guys to do is I'm going to actually also post the Pear Deck for this, and you guys will be getting on and doing these got it's. Okay, so you're going to get on and you are going to do the got it so that I can actually check for understanding right then and there. So when, you can pause the video, pull up the Pear Deck, and do that right now if you wanted to also. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is it can indicate what follows as an explanation or an elaboration of what precedes it. So he was certain of one thing, okay? Then there's a colon. He was in love. So you can see how he was in love is an explanation of he was certain of one thing. So it explains what he was certain of. It can also, I propose a solution to the problem of tardiness, colon. Harsher penalties. So once again, the solution mentioned is in what precedes is explained in what follows. Remember, what comes before the colon must be a complete sentence, but what comes after it doesn't. Okay? The situation is clear. If you do not study for the exam, you will fail. Okay, so this is elaborating. Okay, so once again, you're going to do this on the Pear Deck. Okay? Okay, so this is where I see students use this the most. It is something that can help you change that hook at the beginning, okay? So you can do something like this. I have always found encouragement in the words of Winston Churchill. Then there's a colon, and then there's a quote, okay? So make sure you start that quote with a capital letter. But this will give you some room to play with that hook. You could start it with something like, I have always found encouragement in the words of Winston Churchill. Now, I don't want you to say I've always found encouragement in the words of whoever, okay? Think about what this quote means to you, okay? And use that before the colon, okay? So colons do 3 things. It introduces a list. It indicates that what is to follow is an explanation or an elaboration, or it can introduce a quote, okay? Next is going to be semicolons. Semicolons is a dot and a comma arranged vertically. It is used in complicated lists and to link closely related independent clauses. In the spectrum of pauses, it falls between the period and the comma. So whenever I think of a semicolon, I think of it as a longer pause than a comma, but less than a stop, okay? So here is the complicated list. Here's how it works. Note that the items in this list already contain commas. So in order to separate the list, you're going to have to use semicolons. So since you already have to split up Mr. Jones and Professor of English, because you can't just say Mr. Jones, Professor of English, you need a comma there. That goes between a name and a title. To go on to the next person, Dr. Roman, a linguistic specialist, you have got to use a semicolon because you've already used a colon. So you can't do Mr. Jones, comma, Professor of English, comma, Dr. Roman, because that looks like Mr. Jones is not the Professor of English. That's a completely different person. So this is how you show that there's a harder, this is a small stop, this is a harsher stop. Okay, so it's a bigger divide between them. Okay, so it works here also. The 4 filming locations will be, so we have Old Town Hall, which is in Cambridge. So this is the location, this is the town. Location, town, location, town. So you want the different locations and towns to be separated. So because you're already doing location and town with a comma, the full locations all need to be separated with the semicolon. Same here. We have a name and a city. Those all have to be separated by semicolons then. Okay, so here's the other way. Okay, you can take 2 main clauses and combine them together. My brother sleeps with the light on. He is afraid of the dark. This is grammatically correct. However, what if you wanted to link the 2 independent clauses to show that one relates to another? You could write it like this, okay? You could add a comma, but then you also need a coordinating conjunction. So I could say my brother sleeps with the light on as he is afraid of the dark. That is completely okay also. But another way you can do it is a semicolon. My brother sleeps with the light on, semicolon, he is afraid of the dark. Okay? This shows that they are closely related, and it's a little bit more concise, and it's to the point. So it has a little bit more emphasis by not putting that comma in as. That comma in as pulls away a little bit from the emphasis. Okay, so the thing is you can't just slap 2 clauses together with a semicolon. They have to be closely connected. Okay, so he didn't see the car coming. Now his car is severely damaged. They go together, okay? Both have to be independent. They have to be able to stand alone. Okay, so here's some more examples. We made too many mistakes. We lost the game. Josie drives a BMW. Jim drives a Porsche. I had a huge meal. However, I'm already hungry again. Bad weather kept us from driving as far as we wanted. We decided to stop for the night. Okay, so here's the rules. The clauses on either side must be independent. They have to be able to stand alone. They must be closely related. And last thing is you don't capitalize the word which follows the semicolon unless it's a proper noun. Okay? Those are the rules for connecting the 2. Okay, you guys are going to do this on Pear Deck also. Got it? Okay. Recap. Complicated lists with internal punctuation and to link closely related independent clauses. They're not just for smiley faces. So you guys go ahead and do the Pear Deck, and then I'm going to check for understanding there. And then we will be working on IXL when it comes to these also, okay? I will see you guys in class on Monday.